Welcome to our Tuesday version, which it is every Tuesday with Tom Dienhart, the AcrePro buy sell. We'll be talking Purdue, Ohio State, maybe a little Purdue, Iowa, and kind of trying to have a little bit of fun with what may happen in the future. That if we can, Tom is a very clairvoyant guy, so he'll be able to see it all from that standpoint. But when it comes to farm or land sales, it pays to have experts in your quarter. AcrePro Midwest Farm Group are your local farmland specialists with decades of experience in Indiana agriculture. No one knows the market better. Whether you're doing a 1031 exchange or simply buying and selling farmland, your local AcrePro agent will walk the land with you and ensure the deal is done right. So make sure you visit acrepro.com or call 765-775-6502, and that would be to speak with Kyle Spray. All right, Tom, rough weekend for the Boilermakers, certainly, and an opportunity in Iowa City. Another opportunity this week, a lot tougher of an opportunity, certainly, but Purdue has been 20-point underdogs to Ohio State before. You have well chronicled and talked about it on Gold Black Radio this week about the upsets of the 21st century for Purdue against the Buckeyes. Certainly 2009, 2011, I think Purdue was a slight underdog in that game. And then, of course, the great Tyler Trent game of 2018. I'm going to just start with an opening one. Will Purdue lead in this game? I'm going to give you that. It's a complete crap. And it borders on the silliness. But do you think the Boilermakers will get at least punch Ohio State in the nose? They have the ability to do that to start the game.
Yeah, why not? Why not just go ahead and buy it and say yes? I guess. Yeah, you never know. Jim Coletto led a lot of games at halftime. He said it wasn't for the second half. Jim Coletto being a Hall of Fame coach. So yeah, Purdue can get a lead. Why not? I mean, who knows? You talked about that Ohio State offensive line. It has had its issues. That may be the one area of real concern, I think, for the Buckeyes, protecting Kyle McCord and giving him time to pass. And Kyle McCord's been okay. He's played pretty well recently, but he's sort of been a mixed bag as far as his total body of work this year. So they're still talented, don't get me wrong, but that's one area where Purdue may be able to get after it. And who knows? I think sure they can maybe get an early lead in this game and keep things interesting early on for the Boilermakers.
I'm going to throw a little history, and you're as good as anybody at that. In Purdue's biggest upset wins, obviously 2018, and I would argue 2009, Danny Hope, they were 1-5 going into that game, and I think they were on 11 or 12 point with Terrell Pryor, the quarterback for the Buckeyes, Jim Tressel behind the headset, so to speak. Are you buying or selling that this is the least? I know Ohio State's ranked second. Is this the least talented of those three? If you're comparing those Buckeye teams, and I know your day job is not covering Ohio State, so I understand that. But how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think you may be onto something there. I think Ohio State's always got talent, but I guess there's degrees of it, right? And
sure,
this certainly doesn't look to be a red letter talented Ohio State team. I think a lot of it's just because of the quarterback. He's not a C.J. Stroud, obviously. He's not a Dwayne Haskins. He's better than a Craig Krenzel and like Steve Belisari. But I think that's one reason that to look at this Ohio State team maybe as being a little less talented than some of the ones Purdue upset, in previous meetings this century. So, yeah, I think I would definitely buy that. They are playing better on defense, though, Alan. I talked to Bill Rabinowitz, one-time Ohio State writer from the Columbus Dispatch this week, and he talked about how that D is really playing good, Alan. Front to back, man. Tommy Eichberg and middle linebacker, the two ends. Jack Sawyer, the cornerback, Denzel Burke. So, but offensively, I think that may be where they maybe a little step back just because of the line, I think the quarterback.
Of course, that team that Purdue beat in 2009, Danny Hope's first Big Ten win of 26-18 win for the Boilermakers. Ohio State was ranked 7th at that time. And they ended up losing 2 games. They lost to USC and they lost the Purdue game. They lost to USC earlier in the year at home. And of course, in 2018, the Buckeyes lost just 1 game. And of course, that one to Purdue, that 49-20 Tyler Trent game. And I'm with you on that. I think I'll buy that as well. I didn't even offer on our first comment. I'll buy also that Purdue's going to get ahead in this game. I think there's going to be some emotion for Purdue. I think Ryan Walters and company will get them going. But yeah, I think I'm just not sure what I'm seeing at Ohio State. I like Ryan Day a lot as a coach, obviously, and they got what they needed to win at Notre Dame. They just aren't going to knock your socks off offensively. And I think that may be, of course, that may be, his famous last words, because Purdue had a hard time stopping Iowa's in run game. Henderson's coming back this week in theory, right? And he can put up big numbers where Ohio State rush game. But I do think that this is probably maybe that 09 team at Ohio State. It might be about dead even with that, because Terrell Pryor was much ballyhooed, but wasn't great at that position. Purdue really took advantage, and Ryan Kerrigan just terrorized the poor guy in that game back in 2009. So I like that. Okay, protecting the quarterback has been a huge issue for the Boilermakers, or at least it was last week against Iowa. Hudson Card, we asked Ryan Walters on Monday about his health. Worried about that just in terms of, like I said, he runs like he's got sore shoulders. We know he's got a little bit of a shoulder issue as well. Can Purdue, I'm going to lay it at 3 sacks. Can they keep it under 3 sacks in this game? Again, a silly notion, but can they protect him a little bit better and allow Purdue to at least maneuver a little bit offensively?
I'm gonna sell that, Alan. I don't think Purdue's going to keep under 3 sacks. You're right about Hudson Card. From everything I've gathered, they did it took a lot just to get him on the field last week at Iowa.
Yeah.
He actually got banged up in the first quarter against Illinois. And so he really had to grin and bear it this last week. And we saw him wincing a few times. I think that obviously played a factor into how he played as far as running the football, Alan, as far as staying in the pocket. So be mindful of that. And Here comes Ohio State, Alan. Oh, my God. Here comes Ohio State. So, unfortunately for Hudson, I think he's going to go down at least 3 times. Iowa got him 6 times. I don't know how many times they hit him and pressured him either on top of all that. So, yeah, unfortunately, I think Hudson's going to take his shots. I guess if you're a Purdue fan, you have to hope he doesn't get hurt seriously, and he'll have time to heal up when Purdue's off this next week after the Ohio State game for the bye.
Yeah, I think I think they are going to have a hard time. And Purdue's obviously got some issues on the offensive line with Marcus Bowe being out. That's just a brutal thing for Purdue, it seems.
Real quick there, Alan, you're going to have Daniel Johnson.
Yeah.
But you're probably going to have Ben Farrell start at right tackle. He finished the game Saturday at Iowa. And I'm thinking that he's going to be the guy who gets to start. Daniel Johnson hasn't played this year at all, coming back from a knee injury. So you're going to have a new right tackle. Of course, Ben Farrell, Alan, began his career at an NAIA school, Indiana Wesleyan. They like him a lot, but boy, he's going from Indiana Wesleyan now to Ohio State. So, hey, man, it's you never know what's going to happen to you in life if you keep working. Right here, Ben Farrell is going to get to play the mighty Buckeyes.
Well, Purdue has had some guys come up, Isaac Zico against in 2018. Yeah. There have been some names. Now, Isaac Zico was a starter for a couple of years, but it is. But I'm with you. That's going to be a huge challenge. All right, I'm going to put a little and God love Derek Rogers Jr. as a freshman.
Yeah.
Oof. Number 13 in your program, number 1 in your heart. I hope mom and dad. And again, the kid's a talented kid. I'm not, we're trying hard to. This is just a challenging game for Purdue. But if he runs up against it, I don't know who's going to be checking Marvin Harrison Jr. But Marvin Harrison Jr. had a breakout game of late. 100 yards over under. What are you buying? Are you buying that are you buying that he has over 100 yards in receiving against Purdue?
Don't forget about Emeka Abula, his sidekick.
He's not bad either, is he?
Probably every bit as good as Marvin Harrison. So, yeah, Markevious Brown and Derek Rogers Jr. will be your cornerbacks for a second week in a row, your starters. I'm going to go ahead. I'm buying that Harrison's going to get 100. Let's hope Purdue has to make him work for it at least. He doesn't get an 80-yard catch or something.
Yeah.
And here's what's really scary, Alan. The staff does like Derek Rogers a lot. And this was well before he's been thrust into this role. He was a late addition from Orlando, really underweight when he got to campus. He bulked up, and they really do like this kid a lot. Your backup cornerbacks, again, Botros Alessandro will be one. Your fourth cornerback, Alan, according to the depth chart, is Zion Steptoe. Wide receiver. You know, I guess I don't know where Braxton Myers is. Braxton Myers was a transfer from Ole Miss. But again, so there you go, my friend. There's just not a lot of depth there. I'm not sure if the Stanford cornerback, Salim Turner Muhammad, is going to get on the field this week. And boy, it certainly would help if he could get on the field, given the lack of depth there. But again, that just shows you how perilously thin Purdue is a cornerback. And we all know about those Buckeye wide receivers. They got a great tight end, too.
Yeah.
So they make Kyle McCord's life a lot simpler when you can throw to guys like that.
Yeah, I think that is, and again, we're not making them out to be the 85 Bears or whatever, but because on one side of the ledger, we said this is the least talented of the three teams that Purdue has had the biggest upsets against in the last 15 years, the three Ohio State teams.
Here's one.
Yeah, fire away, my friend. I'm all ears.
Here's one hope, Alan. Ohio State plays Penn State next week.
That is a good point.
Maybe they'll look past Purdue. I doubt it, but who knows where the Buckeyes' mind's going to be. These results go like this every week, Alan. Quick example. 2 weeks ago, Georgia Tech gets beat at home by Bowling Green. Last week, they go win at Miami, Florida. So,
yeah,
you guys.
No, and I think that's true. I think that there's going to be, if Purdue can find a way to generate some confidence and emotion early, you never know. That's just all there is to it. I mean, the over/under is 50. I'm going to ask you that on that front, buying or selling the under in this game. And again, we're not professional gamblers.
I'm selling. I think there'd be 50 was the over/under.
Yeah, that's what it was. The last 19 and a half spread. Go ahead.
I think it'll be higher than that. I think there'll be more than 50 points scored here. And yeah, the Buckeyes are about a 3-touchdown favorite. I still think it's going to be hard for Purdue to score, though, Alan. But we'll see. This is where you really get tested when you're a coaching staff and trying to figure this out. The odds are obviously long, but like you and I have seen some crazy games. You were there in 1976, I'm sure, when Purdue beat Michigan to go way more times.
I ran on the field. Much like as a junior in West Lafayette High School, and I said, I don't think my dad. I never told my dad that because he would have never let me back in Ross-Ade Stadium for doing that. But yes, that would be and that game was Purdue a 34-point underdog to Michigan or whatever that number was. I don't know if it was quite that much, but it was a lot. And yeah, stranger things have happened. And the last thing we're doing here is trying to bet. This is Purdue's Ryan Walters and company's got to put the group together. And then, like you said, this is where you get tested. And again, I'm going to go back to what I've said about the season, all the season. It is about the process and how he handles difficulty and what he does. And I think in a lot of ways, certainly, he's been stoic. He's tried to. Yeah. He's owned up to things that I'm talking about. Ryan Wallace owned up to things that haven't gone well. Clear about what they need to work on and what they'd like to get better. And he's not been wildly optimistic. I mean, he hasn't promised things that he said. That for the most part, Purdue hasn't delivered. He just said he's been very matter of fact. I think that's a good thing for Purdue down the road. But I think this is another interesting measuring stick game just because of how Purdue, can Purdue find a way to make this competitive for a period of time in this game? Yeah. Because I think it's going to tell you when you're 2-5 and nobody's, we've gone every week, Tom and I, we're not doing it this week. Is Purdue going to make a bowl this year? We're not going to do it. Now, after they beat Ohio State, we'll go back to that discussion. But my point is that is a big factor in my view of where this program is. They're young. They're trying to get things off the ground. They've got recruits that are interested in this program, and you've done a good job of talking about 25 and 26 recruits that are starting to pay attention. This is a great opportunity to make a statement of sorts that you mean business is a program, and I think that's what's going to be doing. All right.
We saw Maryland last week, Alan. I think Maryland had the lead at halftime. Maryland's probably better than Purdue this year, but I think they was tied 17-17. They had a slight lead, and they lost 37-17. So I got one for you real quick. Buy, sell.
Yes, sir.
Can Purdue keep Ohio State under 40 points?
Yeah.
Well,
I'm going to say yes. And I think that over under at 50, I could see a 35-14 type game. And again, I think that's I know that none of the fans want to go in as you want to have cosmetic games, but again, I'll go back to what I said. It's important for Purdue to show well in this game and to play well. And I think are you buying or selling that yourself now that
I'm going to sell it. I think they're going to get over 40. If they don't, I think that's an achievement in itself. And I know, like you said, you're alluding to, Alan, you don't want moral victories. Nobody likes moral victories, but facts are facts. Reality is reality. Where Purdue's at right now is a program in transition, very thin roster, largely inexperienced, a lot of new faces. And again, sort of like Rocky Balboa, just wanting to go 15 rounds with Apollo Creed, right? Stay on your feet, don't get knocked out. And people may really sour at that imagery or that analogy, or again, just trying to survive. But man, this is Ohio State, and the realities of 2023 say Buckeyes are much better than Purdue, and they're still playing for a whole heck of a lot.
Yeah, that triangle that they are entrenched in with Penn State and Michigan, going to be interesting to see. And you're right, Maryland. If Maryland was a pick six away, remember they were heading that game 10-0, and had the ball, and through Ohio State, made a huge play on that. But that game really could have been dangerous. I was impressed with how Maryland was dealing with Ohio State and causing Ohio State some problems.
Bill Rabinowitz thinks that if they were in the Big Ten West, he thinks they're better than anybody in the Big Ten West. That's not saying a lot, but
I don't think there's any question about that right now. Now,
we got a nice quarterback.
All right, let's take one last one. Iowa, Wisconsin. Wisconsin, I believe, is at home, and I know you're going to be making your Media Mania pick, so you don't want to divulge this stuff too. But no, are you buying or selling that Iowa's gone into Wisconsin over the years, and just when you think they can't beat anybody, are you buying or selling Iowa making that a game? And by that, making that a game that they can win, they have a chance to win in the fourth quarter. Not say that they're going to win.
Not even that. I'm selling that, Alan. I mean, how can Iowa go to Camp Aranda with that quarterback, Deacon Hill? I mean, not only are they going to get beat, I think Wisconsin should win with some relative ease. Wisconsin's still a talented team. They have their quarterback, Tanner Mordecai. We've already seen the Badgers. We know what they're about. And Iowa, even with Cade McNamara, was pretty limited. Now with Deacon Hill, they're extremely limited. I don't see them going on the road in that environment against that program. Again, not only are they going to get beat, but I expect Wisconsin to win with some relative ease. I wonder what the line is on that.
I think it's at about 6.5, and that puts
that's it. Really, 6.5.
Yeah, but wow. I think you look at that game, and I agree. I'm not enamored with what I see out of Wisconsin, even in the game that we saw in West Lafayette. But I do think that I do think it gives a chance that Iowa's defense is good, and that is what's going to be an interesting thing. And you're right. Wisconsin's actually a 9.5 point favorite, not a 6.5 point favorite. So Vegas is expecting them to be that a big part of it, and to have relative ease. All right, it will be an important day in Ross-Ade Stadium, the Tyler Trent 5-year anniversary. There'll be a lot with the Hammer Down Cancer, the Purdue Cancer Institute. You know, I don't think you're ever going to be. I guess that's my last point on that topic. You've seen a lot of Purdue games over the years. Where do you put the 2018 win over Ohio State and just the circumstances? Is that in your top 2 of your all-time list? You buying or selling that?
I'm buying that. I mean, go back to the 2000 game, the Seth Morales game. Of course, Seth's going to be back as the honorary captain this week. I mean, the magic of that 2000 season, the biggest win of that magical season, the drama of that victory, Drew Brees, national television audience, you name it. I mean, that was a great one, Alan. I don't think it was a shock Purdue won. 2018, Alan, I think maybe I give that even a bump above that 2000 game just because of the magic around that game. The number 2 ranked Buckeyes, Alan. The Tyler Trent story as well. And the utter annihilation, Alan. 49-20. That
28 points in the fourth quarter, Tom.
Yeah, it wasn't even a game. So I think the quarterback, Dwayne Haskins, threw like 70 passes, some crazy amount of passes.
I think it's still a Purdue record, opponent record, maybe. Yeah.
So again, I think as great as that 2000 win was, as close that game is to my heart, man, what happened in 2018 was just otherworldly. It almost seemed like the hand of God. Touchdown. And again, given that Tyler Trent story, that became not just obviously a big Purdue story, Alan, as you know, it became a national story.
Yeah, and by the time this airs tonight, Mike Carmen will have a really nice piece on that on the site, and we talked to the Trents yesterday for a Monday Night Memories, and I just think you're right, and we're not big one to throw. I don't like to mix religion and college football very often, but I think something was at work with that game. No matter it was mystical, it was divine, whatever term you want to use. That was great. And
heaven sent,
and certainly when you look at that, it was that. So, Tom, you got work to do to get over to talk to some. I assume is it the defensive guys today? So
offense on Tuesday,
offensive guys. That's right. Defense on Wednesday. So we'll let you do it. Thanks so much for your time. We want to always appreciate that. We will probably take a week hiatus during the bye week. Come back on the 20. It would be the 24th, and to have another edition of AcrePro Buy Sell. We want to thank AcrePro. When it comes to land sales, it pays to have experts in your corner. Don't forget to visit acrepro.com or call Kyle Spray at 765-775-6502. They're all ears when it comes to land deals and a 1031 exchange. And if you get the chance, please, and you're in that realm, please do so. All right, Tom, thanks again. Have a great week, everybody. Thanks for watching or listening.